Record, and the record will reflect all parties are present. The jury has re-entered the courtroom. Please call the next witness.
State call Travis Hodge, Your Honor.
Okay. Could you please bring in Mr. Hodge? All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Hodge.
Good afternoon.
Will you please state and spell your name for the record?
Travis Wayne Hodge, Travis Wayne Hodge.
And Mr. Hodge, how old are you?
I'm 36 years old.
How are you currently employed?
I'm currently unemployed now.
All right. And I guess a better question is, where do you currently reside?
Galveston County Jail.
Before you were in Galveston County Jail, what did you do for a living?
I was a maintenance worker at a hotel
And where is it that you lived?
in Baycliff.
Have you lived in Baycliff your whole life?
No,
How long have you lived in Baycliff?
I moved to Baycliff in November of 23.
So about 2 years ago?
Yes,
Where was it that you lived prior to Baycliff?
with my cousin at 3106 George Street.
And why was it that you moved to Baycliff?
When I got out of prison, I didn't have anywhere to go, so my cousin came and picked me up and moved me in with him.
So you just mentioned that you've previously been to prison, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you previously go to prison for?
For drugs.
Are drugs something that you have had pretty frequent interactions with?
Yes, ma'am.
When we talk about drug interactions, let's just cut to the chase. What do you do with drugs?
I'm a drug user. I use methamphetamines.
You use methamphetamines. Do you also sell methamphetamines?
I was not intentionally trying to, but unfortunately I was.
So, while it might not have been what you set out to do, you have sold drugs for profit, correct?
I wouldn't say for profit. It was, if I had it, I sold it.
Okay. Now, when you were selling methamphetamines, did you only sell to people you knew or people you didn't know, or how did you find customers?
To people I knew.
I want to ask you, do you know anyone by the name of Uriah Urick?
I do now know that Uriah Urick is also somebody that I knew by Percy.
So, you know that the person you know of as Percy has the actual name Uriah Urick, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see the person you know as Percy in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please tell me where he's seated in an item of clothing?
In the blue or black or blue shirt over there.
Your Honor, may the record reflect this witness has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect. May I see the attorneys very briefly, please?
Mr. Hodge, how did you meet Percy?
I met Percy at a local drug house in Baycliff. He had just gotten burned on some drugs and was looking for more. And I just happened to have about 3.5 grams on me. And so I gave him a gram just because.
And at that point, did you sell the gram to Percy or did you just give it to him?
At that point, he tried to pay me for it and I told him no. He could just have it.
And do you recall when that was?
I want to say, I think in December
Of 2024?
of 2024, yes.
And after that initial meeting with Percy, how often did you talk to or see him?
For a while I didn't until his friend Jaden gave him my number, and then he contacted me one day and I was a little pissed about it, but Jaden gave me my number and he's like, hey, can I get some stuff? And I was like, I'm at work right now, I'm not getting off for a while. He's like, well, I can come by your work. I really didn't want to do that, but he eventually talked me into letting him come by my job, and he ended up picking up a gram from me at my work.
And at that point, did you give it to him or sell it to him?
At that time, I did sell it to him.
And about how many times would you say that you had sold methamphetamine to Percy?
maybe 5 or 6 times.
Now, I want to bring your attention to early February of 2025. Do you recall that time period?
Yes, ma'am.
During that first week of February, how long had it been since you'd talked to Percy?
Before February 7th, he contacted me a few days before that and had asked if he could come stay at my house with a couple of guns, and I had told him no. And then on February 7th, I had contacted him because I seen a post about him and Tara King wanted for credit card or debit card use. And so I was trying to find out what was going on, and that's when we started kind of talking, and he asked for a ride.
And at that point, did you know Tara King?
I did not. I had never met her in my life.
So when you started talking to Percy, how did you communicate with him?
Through text message.
And is that because y'all already had each other's numbers?
Yes.
So when you reached out to Percy, tell me about that conversation.
I asked him what was going on. He said he really couldn't talk about it. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, it was self-defense. And I was like, what was self-defense? And then he just never answered then.
Okay.
And then he asked for a ride to Illinois, and I told him I couldn't take him to Illinois. And so after that, we kind of talked a little bit, and I was like, well, I could take you to like Mexico.
Why was it you suggested Mexico versus Illinois?
Because he was trying to go to Canada to the border. And I was like, well, you know there's a border that's closer.
So proximity.
Yeah.
So when you said you could take him to Mexico, what was the next thing that occurred?
He's like, I'll pay you $1,000 to take me down there.
At this point, did anything about what was happening strike you as odd or concerning, or what are you thinking?
Yes, it did strike me odd, but at the same time, I was like, well, I was trying to figure out what was going on. And at the same time, I was like, at the time, I didn't really care.
Once you had the conversation about he'd give you $1,000 for the ride, what, if anything, do you do next?
I leave work at 5 o'clock that day, and I go and drop my roommate off that I was staying with off at the house, and I go and pick him up at an apartment in League City.
And did he give you an address to go to, or how did you know where to go?
He gave me an address to go to, and I went and picked him up. And at first I passed the apartment, and he's like, no, turn around. And I turned around and parked right in front of the apartment. Uriah and Tara both came out. They had a gun. At the time I did not know it was a gun, but they had something wrapped up in a blanket, along with 3 or 4 different bags and a dog.
What did the dog look like?
A little black and brown tan one, I believe.
Okay. And so, at this point, had y'all still only communicated by text message, or did y'all communicate any other way?
We actually did. I did suggest that we move over to like a encrypted app, because I mean, we were doing something kind of illegal.
Was it kind of illegal or just illegal?
We were doing something illegal. I was giving him a ride, even though I knew that he was wanted by the Galveston County Police or Galveston County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. And so I'm going to kind of put a pin right there, because that's something that we need to talk about. We see that you currently, as we said, are residing in the Galveston County Jail, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I am currently facing charges of possession or manufacturing and delivery of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, namely methamphetamine, as well as I'm facing a gun charge and also a hindering apprehension charge.
And have you entered into an agreement with the state of Texas?
I have.
And do you recall what that agreement is?
I do. It is 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Is it on all 3 charges, or 2 charges, or 1?
It is on 2 charges. It is for the manufacturing and delivery of methamphetamine and the hindering apprehension.
And is that also in exchange you dismissal on the unlawful possession of firearm by a felon?
Correct.
And as part of the agreement that you have entered in with the state, what are you required to do?
To testify.
Do you just have to testify, or do you
Testify and tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Thank you. And is your agreement to testify in any trials to do with this case?
Yes.
Now, like you just said, at the time that you were going to give them a ride, you knew that they were charged with a felony, correct?
With credit card or debit card abuse, correct.
Okay. Now, once you arrive at this apartment in Lake City, tell me what happens.
When I picked him up, they, like I said, they had a blanket, and at the time I did not know what was in the blanket until after the fact. But Uriah gets in on the passenger side, he throws in the blanket, and he has a couple of shoulder bags, and he throws them in the car. Tara comes to the driver's side, throws in a couple of bags along with his backpack, and then she tries to get the dog in. The dog gets loose, and she's trying to get in the car, or get the dog in the car, and Uriah tells her, just leave the dog and get in.
Now, when you're saying that Tara was trying to get in the driver's side, where are you?
I'm in the driver's side, and she was in the back seat, and I was in the front seat.
And then when you said Percy or Uriah was trying to get in the passenger side, was that the front or the back?
In the back.
Okay. So Uriah says, leave the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
What occurs next?
We leave the apartment. I go down to Main Street, and I turn right on Main Street, and I drive down a little bit, and I stop at the Walgreens. And I tried talking to Uriah then, and I was like, look, if it was self-defense, go ahead and turn yourself in. Because he had already told me that it was self-defense. I was like, what was self-defense? At that time, he tells me that he can't because of the position of the body.
And what did that mean to you?
That he actually murdered somebody.
At that point, did you know who had been murdered?
No, I did not.
Once you're talking to him at Walgreens, does he say anything else at Walgreens?
No, when we were sitting at Walgreens, he was very nervous, fidgety, looking behind his shoulder. I think he thought I was setting him up because he kept looking out the back window. Once we got on the highway and started off towards, I believe, Alvin, he hands me $500, and then we stop in Alvin.
So at this point, what is Tara doing?
Tara's in the back seat. Her and Uriah are whispering the whole time. She doesn't really ever conversate with me.
So is Uriah who you predominantly speak to throughout this drive?
Yes, ma'am.
But Tara and Uriah are communicating.
Yes, ma'am.
What happens next?
So after we go to Alvin, I guess Tara had told Uriah that she was wanting some snacks and stuff. So I stop out at a convenience store. Uriah hands me $20, goes and says, go in and get stuff for us, get whatever you want. But he tells me stuff that she wants and stuff for him. So I go in, I get it, I come back out, I give it to them. In the parking lot of the convenience store, we both roll a bowl. I have my own stuff.
I'm going to pause for a second. For those of us who may not be as drug savvy, what do you mean by roll a bowl?
So when I say roll a bowl, we have a glass pipe that has methamphetamine in it, and you literally roll it back and forth for it to smoke.
Okay. And you said you have your own stuff?
I have my own stuff. Uriah has his own stuff. I don't know if this is stuff that I had given him 2 or 3 days before or not.
Okay. So you just knew that you each had your own substances to use?
Yes.
Okay. So do just you and Uriah smoke at that point, or what does Tara do?
No, ma'am. She's also in the back seat, and Uriah helps her light the bowl and roll it because me using drugs for over 15 years, I kind of know the signs of when somebody's new, and I could tell that she had just recently started smoking.
Is it fair to say she didn't seem as confident in using the narcotics?
Correct.
Okay. So after you stop and get the snacks in Alvin and utilize the methamphetamine, what happens next?
We leave from there and we start driving towards Laredo. I'm not sure of the exact route, but I do know that at one point in time we do get pulled over in Freer, Texas.
When you get pulled over in Freer, Tell me about that. What happens?
We were all very nervous. I mean, I've got 2 people in my vehicle. They're wanted by Galveston County, and then I have a meth pipe on me. I know he has a meth pipe on him. Other than that, I'm not, like, I'm nervous because, I mean, they're wanted by Galveston County for credit card, debit card abuse.
Now, at this point in the drive, is the credit card, debit card abuse still the only charge you know about?
As of when I got back, I even looked online, and as of February 8th, yes.
Okay. But Uriah had told you about there being an individual who is deceased.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when you get pulled over by Freer, walk me through exactly what happens during that stop.
So I know I'm coming over a hill, and I see the cop, and I for some reason I knew we were gonna get pulled over because as soon as I topped the hill, he turned around, and so I knew that we were gonna get pulled over. I don't know why, I just knew we were going to.
Now, earlier when you were talking about Tara and Uriah putting things in your vehicle, you said there was a firearm wrapped up in a blanket, but you didn't know that yet.
I knew that there was something that they threw in the back. I didn't know what it was until after he had told me told me that night. I knew that the guns were there, or the gun was there.
So by the time you got stopped at Freer, did you know there was a firearm in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
And where was that firearm, to your knowledge?
In the back seat, in the floorboard.
So when this officer pulls you over, what happens?
The officer comes to the passenger side window, asks me for my driver's license. They're both in the back seat, and since I had kind of been staying, I was staying in my car, but I was staying at a friend's house too. Like, I had my windows covered, and so they pulled the cardboard off my window so that way the officer could see in. While the officer was in the back running my name, Uriah is digging around in the back, in the floorboard.
Okay.
And so I got really nervous then.
Why?
I told Uriah, just calm down. Just let him do his job. Because the reason I got nervous is because I thought he grabbed one of the guns.
Okay.
Or grabbed the gun.
And you thought Uriah had grabbed the
Yes,
gun.
ma'am.
Once the officer returns to the vehicle, what happens next?
He tells me that my headlight was blinking, but it's not blinking now, so he can't really do nothing about it. He hands me my driver's license and says, have a good night. And so we take off and we go, I think the next town was Beeville.
And do you stop there or keep driving?
We stop there at a convenience store. Tara has to go to the bathroom, so her and I both go in. She goes to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom. I stop and get some no-dos because I had ran out of meth already. Then we go across the street to the Whataburger and get something to eat.
After you get something to eat, during this time, is Uriah saying anything else to you?
I mean, we're talking, we're just not talking a lot. Like, it's like, just talking, like not really talking about anything.
Fair to say random chit-chat?
Yeah.
So after you get Whataburger, what happens next?
We continue on to Laredo, and when we get to Laredo, I stop at, I believe it's Circle K, and we put gas in because my car's almost empty. He hands me two $20 bills. I go inside he hands me a $100 bill at that time. I go inside and I get gas. I come back out and he tells me to just keep the change. After that, we're driving around Laredo because I'm not familiar with Laredo and I'm kind of looking for the border. I didn't know where it was at. So I stop off at another convenience store and I ask where the border crossing is, and the cashier there tells me.
Make sure you don't tell me what anyone other than Uriah says, okay? So you get information about where the border is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what do you do next?
We drive around a little bit and I'm still trying to figure out where it's at. And I had gotten information of a homeless shelter there at the convenience store also.
Do you recall what that homeless shelter was called?
Bethany House.
And where did you go from there?
From the convenience store, we ended up at another convenience store because Uriah and I were kind of both looking for drugs, but I was just trying to get them out of the car by then
Why?
because they had murdered somebody, and I was just wanting to get rid of them and get back home.
And at this point, has Uriah told you anything else about the murder, or are we still going on the first conversation from Walgreens?
So when we were at Alvin, I forgot about this. When we were in Alvin at the convenience store, he had told me that he couldn't get the smell of the burning flesh out of his nose.
And so other than now at Walgreens and then Alvin, has he mentioned the murder again at this point?
No.
Okay. What happens next?
So after we stop at the convenience store and we see a bunch of homeless people hanging out on the side, Uriah gets out of the vehicle. It goes and talks to him for a minute. He comes back and tells me to go across the street to the motel. I do. Then he comes back from being over there, gets in the car and tells me that I need to take these guns and do whatever I want to with them.
At this point, you said these guns. At this point, how many guns did you know were in the vehicle?
At the time, only one. After, when we got to the motel or hotel, whatever it is, I found out that there was two.
And did you observe those guns?
At that time, no. I did not take them out and look at them, no. He tells me to throw them in my trunk because I told him that I was a convicted felon. He's like, I can't take these guns. I don't like guns to begin with. And I had told Uriah previously, do not get in my car with guns. And he still did.
So when he tells you need to take these guns, what happens?
So I get out and I put the guns in my trunk. And I drive them to Bethany House. I drop them off at Bethany House. They take everything that they're going to take with them. I leave from Bethany House and I drive back.
So when you are talking to Uriah about the guns, do you ask him anything about the guns?
No, at that time, no. I asked him the next morning if one of them was a murder weapon, and he told me yes.
Did he tell you which one?
He told me the 5.56, which is an AR-15.
So the next morning, and how did he tell you this? Over the phone or?
He told me through WhatsApp.
And earlier you talked about you wanted to go to that app because you were doing something illegal. What is your understanding about why if you're going to talk about something illegal, to do it on WhatsApp?
Because it's encrypted and it's harder to hack.
So is it fair to say law enforcement may not be able to obtain those messages as easily?
Yes, ma'am.
So on WhatsApp the next morning, Uriah tells you that the 5.56 is the murder weapon.
Yes, ma'am.
After you said that after you dropped them off at Bethany House, you drove home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, after you dropped them off, obviously you talked to Uriah again the next morning.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
kind of communication did you have with Uriah after leaving Laredo?
We were messaging through WhatsApp still.
And what did y'all talk about?
I guess he was looking up online or talking to people about crossing the border, and they kept telling him that he needed to drive across or somebody needed to take him. And he's like, I need somebody to take me. And I was like, well, I'm already back in Baycliff, so you're on your own pretty much.
And after that next morning where y'all discussed the murder weapon, did y'all continue talking?
He texted me a couple of times, and I texted back. I was like, dude, I'm at work. I was like, I'm trying to work. I texted him. I think the last thing I texted him was about consequences. Sometimes we got to just face our consequences.
So on that Saturday, which would have been that next morning that you come back, what do you do once you're back in Baycliff?
I go to work.
And what do you do with the two guns at this point?
At that point, they were still in my vehicle.
Is that where they remain?
No.
What happens next?
I ended up talking to a friend of mine and telling her about what happened. And so she takes the guns for a couple of days at her house, and where she was staying, and then she gets kicked out. And so in the process of all this, I go and rent a storage unit on on the 9th, I think. And I put all my stuff in storage. Well, then when she gets kicked out of where she was staying at here in Galveston, I went and picked up all her stuff too, along with the guns. I bring them back to Baycliff. I put them all in a storage unit, along with her stuff.
And so, making sure I track, the firearms went from your vehicle to your friend's home, then to a storage unit you rented in Baycliff, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what storage unit number you had?
I want to say either 91 or 191.
Once you put the firearms inside that storage unit, did you ever move them again?
From there, no.
Was that the last thing that happened with your involvement in this case?
Until I got arrested, yes.
So let's talk about that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what day you got arrested?
February 26th.
Tell me what you were doing that day.
I was on my way to work. I left my house at a little bit before 9, because I had to be at work at 9. But I think I might have actually been running late that day.
Okay.
I leave my house off where I was staying at on Louisiana. I turned right on Roberts, and then I turned right again on another street, and then I turned left, I believe, on that is Gordy Road. And I drive all the way down Gordy Road, and I get pulled over right at the Double Shoe Gentleman's Club.
Do you recall why you got pulled over?
I was informed at the time that I did not use my blinker, and then he backtracked and said that I did not stop at that stop sign, and when I challenged him on that, he informed me, oh, well, no, you actually didn't use your blinker.
And once you have this conversation, what happens?
He pulls me out of the car, puts me in handcuffs, and I was like, why am I being arrested over a traffic violation? He goes, we'll
Make
talk
sure you
about
don't tell me what anybody else says.
it.
I know that's hard. So ultimately you get pulled out of the vehicle and placed in handcuffs.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you go from there?
From there, I go to the substation in Baycliff.
And when you're at the substation in Baycliff, what do you do? What's happening?
I'm interrogated over the murder that happened.
So when you are first getting pulled out of your vehicle, is there anything in the front seat or door area of your car?
There is. There's a less than a gram in my driver's side door. Unfortunately, in the back seat, there was quite a bit more meth in my vehicle.
So when you're at this substation, what are you doing?
I'm talking with detectives and telling them what happened and gave them permission to go into my storage unit where the guns were, because I did tell them that I did have the guns, and I knew that's what they were looking for. I gave them the keys to my storage unit along with the consent, and they went and searched my storage unit and found the guns.
When you were being talked to at the Baycliff substation, did you fully cooperate with the police?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And did you in fact tell them there was more stuff in your car?
Yes, I did.
And is the more methamphetamine in your car what you got charged with manufacture and delivery for?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall about how much methamphetamine was in your car?
I thought it was about 14 grams, but it was, I guess, about 12 grams.
When you say that, is it because it got tested by the lab?
Yeah.
When you were talking to them, you said you also gave them consent to search your storage unit, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I approach this witness? All right, Mr. Hodge, I'm approaching you with what's been marked as states 432, 433, and 434. Without telling me what they are, tell me if you recognize these documents.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there something on these documents that lets you recognize them or identify them?
My signature on all three of them.
Other than this red sticker from the state, do they look like they've been changed in any way since you last saw them?
They look like they've been copied.
They look like they've been copied, not an original. Is that fair? Other than that, are they the same?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, state moves to admit states 432, 433, and 434.
No objection.
Those will be amended.
May I publish?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hodge. In States 432, is this ultimately the document that said you were willing to talk to police?
Yes, ma'am.
And are all of these statements rights that were written?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this your initial on the left-hand side?
Yes, ma'am.
Similar question in 433. What was it you were consenting for here?
DNA testing of my saliva, a buccal swab.
So that you let them take your DNA.
Yes, ma'am.
And last but not least, in 434, we see your name there at the top again, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it you are consenting to search at this point?
The storage unit that I had in my name.
And as you said earlier, it was storage unit 191, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, on that date, is that when you got arrested for all 3 of the charges you currently have pending?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you been in custody since that date?
Yes, ma'am.
Since that date, have you further spoken to either Uriah or Tara?
No.
I'll pass this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. My name is Bill Agnew, and I represent Uriah Urick, who's sitting here to my right. So you indicated that you had sold meth to Uriah before, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, did you ever know a lady named Tammy King?
No, sir.
No dealings with her at all?
No, sir.
Okay, until you say you didn't know Tara at all?
No, sir.
And never met her up until the day you gave her the ride?
That is correct.
Okay. And you're getting 10 years of consideration for testifying in this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have other felonies in your background, correct?
I do.
What are those?
I have a drug possession, 2 drug possessions, a forgery possession, and marijuana misdemeanor possession.
How many times have you been to the penitentiary?
I have been 1 time.
Okay, and what was that for?
For the forgery and the methamphetamine.
And what was your sentence?
3 years of TDC.
Okay, is that on both running concurrent?
The forgery was for 2 years.
Okay. But they ran concurrent, correct?
Yes, sir.
So in the case that you've got, which is the unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, or the drug case, could easily both be enhanced up to a 2nd degree, correct?
The gun charge is a 3rd degree, I believe, and the manufacturing and delivery is a 1st degree felony.
So both of those with your priors could be enhanced.
Same objection calls for a legal conclusion, Your Honor.
Sustained.
So your sentence in this case is going to be 10 years, whereas the 1st degree case would be ranging from 5 to 99 years to life, correct?
Yes, sir.
Potentially higher.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's witness.
Anything further?
Just very briefly, Your Honor.
Okay.
And you stated, Mr. Hodge, that you're aware that the hindering charge is a 3rd degree, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the charge associated with this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you happen to know the punishment range of a 3rd degree?
From 2 to 10.
And you are receiving 10 years?
Yes, ma'am.
I pass this witness, Your Honor.
No further questions.